Love in the Fast Lane. Chapter 5. Near Lake Norman, they pulled off the highway and onto a side street that led to a gated community, the smooth asphalt giving way to pristine concrete that whispered beneath the truck's tires. Sam couldn't count how many turns they'd taken, each one leading them deeper into what felt like another world entirely. The scent of freshly cut grass drifted through the air conditioning vents, mingling with the faint aroma of Trey's cologne that had become oddly comfortable over the past 6 hours. It was another 5 minutes of winding roads bordered by perfectly manicured hedges before they pulled in front of a sprawling French provincial-inspired mansion. Even in the dark, there were enough lights projecting on the house that she could see how beautiful and enormous it was. Warm golden beams illuminated cream-colored stone walls and highlighted the dark shutters framing countless windows. The slate roof seemed to stretch endlessly into the night sky, and Sam felt her stomach flip with a mixture of awe and intimidation. This wasn't just wealth, this was a different stratosphere of living entirely. The thought made her fingers fidget with the hem of her dress, the silk sliding smoothly against her fingertips as anxiety crept up her spine. Trey wound around the curved driveway toward one of the 5 garage doors tucked inconspicuously away from view. The door opened automatically as they approached, and he pulled in between a gorgeous 1963 Corvette in Admiral Blue and a newer, mocked-out black and red Camaro. The fluorescent lights overhead cast everything in sharp relief, making the cars gleam like jewels in a display case. Wow! Sam sat up so quickly that her seatbelt caught, pressing against her collarbone. She barely noticed, too busy surveying the Corvette, trying not to get drool on the window. Her breath fogged the glass slightly as she leaned closer, her heart racing with the kind of excitement she usually only felt at autocross events. "That is amazing!" The words came out in an appreciative whisper. Trey left the truck without commenting, the door closing behind him. She heard his footsteps, confident and measured, circling around to her side. Her door opened a moment later, cool air rushing in to replace the warmth of the cab. The garage smelled of motor oil and leather polish, with an underlying note of rubber that made her feel instantly at home. "You want to take a look?" His voice carried a note of amusement, but also something else. Curiosity, perhaps. "Could I please? I've always wanted to sit inside one." The words tumbled out before she could moderate her enthusiasm. Her cheeks warmed with embarrassment at how eager she sounded, like a kid asking to pet a puppy. But this was no puppy. This was automotive history, a piece of rolling art that made her fingers itch to touch it. With his trademark half smile, the one that made her stomach do little flips she was trying desperately to ignore, he opened the driver's door. The hinges moved silently, well-oiled, and perfect. He motioned her to take a seat, and she could have sworn she saw a glimmer of genuine pleasure in his hazel eyes. It took a bit of maneuvering in the dress, the silk catching slightly on the doorframe. She had to gather the skirt carefully, mindful not to let it catch on anything that might tear the delicate fabric. Sam managed to get in, sliding into the seat with a soft sigh of contentment. Her fingers caressed the wheel, the chrome cool against her palms, allowing the metal to warm slowly to her body heat. She could feel every groove, every subtle imperfection that spoke of age and authenticity. The interior was as pristine as the exterior, with white leather that smelled faintly of conditioner and age, chrome that caught the overhead lights in brilliant flashes, and with all the original gauges and features. The speedometer went up to 160, the tachometer's red line at 6,500 RPM. She could imagine the engine roaring to life, feeling the vibration through the seat, through her whole body. She closed her eyes and breathed in the beauty of the machine. The leather, the faint mustiness of age, the ghost of countless drives, it all combined into something almost spiritual. She could feel the car's history, imagine all the roads it had traveled, all the hands that had gripped this same wheel. Her mind drifted to sunny days with the top down, the wind whipping through her hair, the engine's growl drowning out everything but pure mechanical joy. Samantha. Trey knelt next to the open door, his presence warm and solid beside her.
His voice was hushed, as if he was afraid to interrupt. "What are you doing?" She refused to open her eyes, not wanting to break the spell, not wanting to see whatever expression might be on his face. "You'll think I'm crazier than you probably already do." When he didn't respond, didn't laugh, or make some dismissive comment, she found the courage to answer him. "I'm letting her talk to me. It will be better with the engine running, but this will do for now. She's absolutely beautiful." She could feel the car's potential energy, dormant but ready, like a sleeping giant waiting to wake. Every car had a personality, a soul, and this one whispered of power and grace, of Sunday drives and midnight races, of freedom and rebellion wrapped in chrome and steel. He chuckled lightly, the sound rumbling from somewhere deep in his chest. "I never thought I'd meet someone who felt the same way about cars as I do." When San opened her eyes and turned to face Trey, she caught the fire of desire in his gaze, hot and intense and making her breath catch. But what she hadn't expected was the tenderness and surprise that accompanied it. The combination was devastating. Here was this man who lived in a different universe from her, who could have anyone he wanted, looking at her like she was something precious and unexpected. The overhead lights cast shadows across his face, highlighting the silver at his tumbles and the slight stubble along his jaw. Her heart flopped in her chest, a painful, wonderful sensation, along with the sudden realization that she was falling quickly for the man who rescued then commandeered her. The thought terrified her. She'd known him for 8 hours. 8 hours. That wasn't enough time to develop real feelings, was it? But the way he'd handled everything today, the way he'd made her feel safe and valued, the way he was looking at her now, it all combined into something that felt dangerously close to real. She could see he wanted her to act on the chemistry between them. It was written in the slight lean of his body toward hers, in the way his breathing had changed, in the heat radiating from him, despite the cool garage air. The tension between them was almost tangible, like static electricity before a storm. But she couldn't take that chance. Her rational mind screamed warnings. This was Trey Stockton, celebrity, race car driver, a man who lived in a mansion with 5 garages. After spending the last 8 hours in his presence, laughing with him, watching him navigate the dinner with ease, she still really didn't know him. Not the real him. Not the man who woke up at 3 a.m. with worries, or how he took his coffee, or what made him genuinely laugh versus the practiced chuckle he'd used with the sponsors. She reached out to touch his shoulder and hesitated, her hand hovering in the space between them. The silk of her dress rustled slightly with the movement. Trey. Her name came out as barely more than a whisper, carrying all the conflict she felt, want and caution, attraction and fear, hope and doubt, all tangled together.
His nostrils flared slightly, a primal response he couldn't quite control, and there was a flash of frustration in those hazel eyes, hot and quick like lightning, but he banked it quickly. The control it must have taken, the respect he was showing for her boundaries, made something warm bloom in her chest. Part of her, the part that had been dormant for so long, wanted him to push, to sweep her into his arms like something from a movie. But the rational part, the part that had been hurt before, that valued her independence above all else, was grateful for his restraint. It's late, and it's been a very long day for both of us. His voice had dropped an octave, rough around the edges like he was fighting for control. Patricia, my housekeeper, set up the guest room for you, complete with the essentials. The department store delivered the other clothes we bought. They should be in your closet. He stood slowly, unfolding from his crouch, and offered him his hand. She used his assistance to get out of the car, the silk dress requiring careful maneuvering again. His hand was warm and strong, calloused in places from years of gripping steering wheels. Once on her feet next to him, close enough to feel his body heat, to catch that intoxicating scent, she took a chance on not letting go. Her heart hammered against her ribs as she waited to see what he would do. Instead of dropping it, he laced his fingers through hers, the gesture intimate and gentle.
The simple touch felt more intimate than the kiss might have, more meaningful because of its restraint. I had Patricia grab one of my t-shirts and a pair of shorts for you to sleep in. I didn't remember buying anything for you at the store. As he guided her into the house and down a dark hallway he obviously knew like the back of his hand, Sam's eyes tried to adjust to the dimness. She could make out expensive-looking artwork on the walls, the gleam of hardwood floors beneath their feet. Their footsteps echoed softly, his confidence sure, her slightly hesitant in the borrowed heels. "No, I didn't think about it at the time. I'm sorry." The oversight seemed silly now, but in the whirlwind of the day, pajamas were the last thing on my mind. She felt him briefly squeeze her hand, a reassuring pressure that made her chest tighten with emotion. Easy fix. After climbing a set of stairs, wide and carpeted in something that felt luxurious even through her shoes, they stopped in front of an open door just off the loft area overlooking a lower part of the house. She could hear a faint tick of a grandfather clock somewhere below, the subtle hum of central air conditioning. Trey reached in and flipped the light switch, flooding the room with warm light that revealed a gorgeous mahogany bed against a navy blue wall. The bedding looked impossibly soft, all whites and creams that would probably feel like clouds against her skin. "This is you. I'm at the end of the hall, that way." He indicated past her to a shadowed set of double doors not too far away, too close for comfort, too far for the part of her that wanted to close the distance. "You have your own bathroom, and there's a phone if you need it." "Thank you, Trey. It's quite lovely and very appreciated." "The room is bigger than my living room and kitchen combined," but she tried not to let that show on her face. He shrugged, the gesture oddly boyish. "It's just a room." "And thank you for a wonderful evening." Sam turned to face him fully, still holding his hand, aware this was a moment balanced on a nice edge. "It's probably one of the best days I have ever had." The admission felt too honest, too revealing, but she couldn't take it back now. "Thank you, Samantha. You made today unexpectedly brighter." He lifted her hand slowly, giving her time to pull away if she wanted. When she didn't, he skimmed his lips against the inside of her wrist, the barest touch that sent fire racing through her veins. She could feel his breath against her sensitive skin, warm and intimate. "Sleep well. I'll see you in the morning." As she watched him walk away, his broad shoulders disappearing into the shadows of the hallway, Sam wondered if her car breaking down hadn't been the most amazing, unlucky moment of her life. Her wrist still tingled where his lips had touched, and she pressed her other hand against her chest, trying to calm her racing heart. The beautiful room felt too big, too empty without him in it, and she had the sinking feeling that sleep would be a long time coming tonight.